All right, welcome everybody to the 2 Degrees podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. And today I have the lovely pleasure of introducing to you one of my friends who happens to also be in the acting industry. And with that, she's also broken into the writing and directing, as I'm looking forward to talking to her about her short because there's a little kerfuffle that happened with that and she was able to get it back. And I think it's a very important piece, and I can't wait to dive into that. But everybody, Kerën Burkett. Hey.
Hi.
How you
My voice
doing?
went up like 10 octave levels. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear. I live right by a busy intersection, so Fast and the Furious is going on outside. But I'm doing well. Happy that it's Friday. And
Yeah, it is Friday. So what does that mean for you?
I have the weekend off. I have no auditions to film. I don't have anything to do but just relax. This is the first weekend where I've had nothing to do. So I'm very happy.
Nice.
That means happy.
You're in Vancouver, and I saw that it snowed in Vancouver.
It did, but it wasn't a lot. I know that you're probably like, I'm in Florida. I saw your little Instagram. It wasn't that
Currently
bad.
in Louisiana. We left Florida last
Oh,
week. Yeah.
I love. You have to go to. You have to try the beignets at the famous place.
Yeah, we did that the other day. We were at Cafe Du Monde in New Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah. You've been?
I have. I went in 2015, I believe. It was amazing.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Who'd you go with?
Oh, by myself. I've done a lot of solo travel. Yeah, I went all through the South by myself.
When you say all through the South, where?
I went to Texas, I went to New Orleans, and I went to Atlanta and Florida.
Did you drive or did you fly? Okay.
I flew. Yeah. So yeah.
And
every summer I just picked a new.
We didn't do Atlanta. We're in Louisiana right now.
You need to go to Atlanta.
I know. I have
if
friends
you're a
in
foodie,
Atlanta.
You need to go to Atlanta. Atlanta has a food. Yeah. Texas really, but Atlanta had really good soul food. I was so blown away. So good, so authentic. And everyone was really nice. I was a little bit nervous because the South can be a little bit racist. Yeah. But I didn't have any problems. I had a great time. Everyone was so nice. I just felt like I was in Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually felt people were a little bit nicer, honestly.
I was thinking to do Atlanta, but then I looked at the weather, and by the time we got to the area, it was already getting cold.
Oh, yeah. You're just trying to run away from it. You just got to embrace it.
No, hell no. That's why that was the purpose of this trip, was to get away from cold. So
how long will you be doing this trip for? Will it be a year or 6 months?
Well, I've officially been living in this for 141 days now.
Damn.
So. Yeah, and then we set out on this particular trip end of September. I want to say like September 24th or something. And we're in December now. So yeah.
Wow, time has flown by.
Yeah. So
do you feel like you figure out a lot of things about yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just in terms of I guess settling into this place as I think I'd want to be in a place for longer than a couple days, hopefully, because right now the objective is to make it to San Diego for Christmas. So because there's that objective, it's like there's that constant need to be moving. But after Christmas, then I think probably park it for a bit longer and enjoy the hot weather for what it is wherever we are. And yeah, but it's just that moving around. All the moving around is definitely taxing. But hey, we're in different cities every day, and we're getting to experience the food, and which is also another thing where it's like I'm trying to be healthy. I got the sea moss, had some sea moss today.
Hey! Is Monique doing it too?
Yeah. So yeah, there was
Yes.
but we put Nutella in it this time.
Y'all are killing me. Oh my God.
It's just there's a craving bit that's happening. So and it's like, okay, cool. We had sea moss, but at the same time we went and we had like roast beef sandwiches and shrimp and crawfish and stuff like that. So it's
Ooh.
like
You only live once though. I mean, you're traveling with
exactly.
your partner. I just feel like you just gotta, and then Christmas time, maybe do a little purge. I think you're perfect.
Yeah, that'll be fine. So enough about me. This is about you. Fill me in. What's going on in your end? Are you filming anything? Are you working on anything?
Yeah. Actually, something big that I'm working on was inspired by you. So before you had left to travel with your partner, your girlfriend, I don't know if you prefer partner or girlfriend.
Partner work.
Doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. Before you went to travel with your partner, you would come by my house to pick up something, and we had a small conversation, but it impacted me a lot. And then that's gonna unravel what's happening.
Okay.
And you would ask me like, "What's next?" And I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to Toronto." And you're like, "Why? You're just gonna be starting over." And everyone I've told I'm gonna go back to Toronto too, they're all like, "Yeah, good for you. Yeah, you're in Vancouver for 5 years. You did it." But then you were like, "Why not go to LA?" And I was like, "I don't know if I'm ready." And you're like, you're just like, try. And I was like, no one's ever told me that. Everyone who I ever talked to about career growth or going to LA, they're all like, "Oh, you gotta get the call first. You gotta did it." It was always kind of like, I was told in more ways than one that I wasn't ready. And you're just like, just try it. And literally that night I was like, what's the process to get my O1 visa? And I looked it up. So I started working on it. I know it's going to take a little bit, but I started making a plan. And one of the requirements was to get written up in a newspaper. I just did that. It just got published in the Toronto Caribbean newspaper.
Wow.
I was on the second page, which was a huge deal. So that happened. And then you need a letter recommendation from two people in the industry. So I'm in the works of getting one from this awesome director who I worked with last year for a Hallmark Christmas movie. He actually brought me back again to Victoria. So he requested me through my agent. He's like, "Yeah, is she available?" And I was like, "Wait, I'm getting requested?"
Nice.
That's never happened before. So I'm gonna reach out to him, and I'm working on going to LA. That's my main focus from now until September 2022 is get to LA. And you and another person named Ben, you were both the people that were like, "Yeah, who said you can't?" And I was like, "Yeah, who said I can't?" So I'm actually working on trying to get to LA. Obviously, I'm scared. I'm nervous. It's a big city. Everyone's super talented, but I just didn't believe in myself. And that little sentence you said, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Just at least I could say I tried.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be trying to go. I'm going to go to LA.
Nice. Congrats. That's going to be fun.
Thank you. Thanks to you, actually.
Stop it. Stop it.
No, I'm being so serious. I'm being so serious.
Because no, it's you. It's all you. Like you always want to do it. You've been working hard. You've been keeping your nose down and just focusing on the work. So it's like, just it's you. Own it.
Hey, so I'm excited. That's what I'm working on. As opposed to outside of that, I'm writing a short story or short film. It's a horror movie about two Black girls, and it's a home invasion. So it's a horror / comedy. And I'm really excited because I was so sick of seeing Black people get killed first. I'm like, we don't even answer the door. How are we dying? So it's actually going to be a little bit realistic. It's going to be a little bit of a dark comedy, and we're actually going to bring up race. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. I'm working on that with another actress named Celia Aloma. You might know her. Working on that together. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I think we're still in the writing phase. It's only going to be about 10 pages. We're on 10 pages now. We have to edit, but I'm excited for that.
Nice. Okay, so it's gonna be a short then.
Yeah, it's gonna be about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then this is gonna be your second production that you've written and directed.
I'm not gonna direct this, I don't believe, but yeah, this will be my second short film project.
Nice. Now,
hopefully this one comes out. I gotta shade myself.
But okay, so with that though, so let's however deep you want to get into till the details of what happened with your other one, because I want to go as far as getting the entire story. But you had this film, and you wrote it.
I had helped write it, but I didn't actually write it.
Okay.
I co-wrote.
You co-wrote it, and but like, I had the understanding that this was your project. Like, you produced it, you got it made, and then it just didn't. The person who edited it, they held, and the director.
He was the director and the editor. Like, he had came on and said he was going to direct it, edit it, and he honestly, I don't know if I can promise, he fucked us over, man. That was like the worst. That was the worst experience I've had career-wise and life-wise.
But you got it back. So now what's the steps with that? Are you just going to leave it as is, or are you going to put it out somewhere? It's a really good question.
I actually just got it back maybe a couple months ago, and it still has to be edited. It still has to be color corrected and have to add a soundtrack. And that costs money. So the reason why I ended up partnering with that gentleman, was because he was like, he went to film school. He did all of that. He's like, I'm going to do that for you. Like, I believe in your vision. And he really sold me on him helping me in getting this project out. And then he backed out for his own personal reasons, which was so hurtful. So now it's like, I have the project, I have all the raw footage, just getting it edited, getting it done. And that costs money. And I don't have the money right now to do that. So I'm just trying to think of a ways if I can just maybe edit it scene by scene and then pay it. I know an editor, pay an editor by that. But yeah, that's what's happened with that. That was, I met this gentleman. We actually, really random. There's a film studio by where I live, Fraser and Marine. We had met in that area, and I was actually studying a script. And he's like, "Oh, are you an actress?" I'm like, "Oh, I am." I don't really talk to strangers either. So I was like, "Oh, yeah, I am." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm a director. I'm a producer. I went to film school. Like, I would love to connect with you." And I kind of got his number, and that was it. And I kind of like walked away because it was Vancouver. It happens all the, like, just like everyone's in film, right? So I was like, whatever. And then he had actually messaged me and he said, are you working on anything? And I said, actually, I'm working on this short film just about me being in Vancouver, because moving from Toronto to Vancouver was a huge culture shock. I don't know if the viewers know this. There's a 1.5 Black population. And I was always asked, no matter where I went,
1.5% in Vancouver is Black. Wow, that seems very small. I had no idea it was that small.
It's that small. It's growing now. That number was taken in 2018, I believe. I'm sure it's grown now. But at that time, it was 1.5%.
Jeez.
Okay. And it was huge. It was a huge culture shock for me. I had faced a lot of microaggression, and the whole thing was based around my hair. And he had come onto the project. I told him what I wanted each scene to be, and he wrote the scenes quite beautifully. And we went into production. We filmed. We brought on a whole people or cast that were of color. They were either Middle Eastern, Black, or of South Asian descent. So it was really exciting. It was a really proud moment. And then we wrapped. And I'm asking for the footage now. There's been no reply for months. I'm like, hey, are you editing? No reply. I'm messaging him on Facebook, Instagram. I'm calling him. I'm doing everything. So finally, I called from a blocked number, and he picked up. And I was like, hey, what is going on? Like, what? He didn't give me any information. Basically, he let me know. He was like, yeah, I didn't enjoy working with you. The team you brought on was horrible. You brought on a horrible DOP, and our DOP was and is amazing. And he just was saying all these things. I'm like, why didn't you say this when we were filming? We could have fixed it. And, he said the PA that you brought on was horrible and da-da-da. Basically, he was like, I don't want my name attached to this project. I'm not going to release it. And if you do want it back, you have to pay me, you have to sign this contract. It was such a horrible, I'm leaving some parts out. It was a horrible experience. And so then I started crying. I was like, oh shit, am I a bad actress? Like, because I was the main character in the movie.
But like, you had there was a I saw it.
Yeah. So he gave me one scene, but he wouldn't give me the rest of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, I'll show you what I did, and you could see like how bad it is. And then
what? It was great. Interesting.
I thought it was great. I sent it to my mom. It's my mom, right? So I actually sent it to a few friends. I sent it to you, I think. I sent it to Layton. I sent it to Shaq. Because I know that you guys would be honest. Like, Layton doesn't bullshit. Shaq doesn't bullshit. You guys are like my 3 no bullshit friends. And everyone was like, oh, this is, when is it coming out? And I'm like, okay. So we ended up being in a battle for basically all of 2020. And that was really hard for me because I had lost 2 grandparents. So like, we're trying to like get the footage. So I did get the footage this year. But by the time I got it, it's now been 2 years because we shot it in 2019. So I was like, do I even want to release it anymore? And the actors that we hired, they've moved on. They're like doing other stuff. So I'm just like, I don't even know. Yeah, that's what happened. I learned a lot. It doesn't matter
if your other actors have moved on or whatever. Like, there's a lot of projects that have sat for so long. Now, is this a short or is this a
short? So it's going to be about 15 minutes.
How many scenes are in it?
I want to say 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have some time, so I guess if I can edit it.
Aw. This is recorded. I'm going to hold you to it.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely talk after this, and then we'll see, because, like, I got some time, and, like, during this trip, I'll show you what I did. I put together a short. No, I filmed something before Queen's Gambit came out. So while I was still living on Beach Avenue, and no, that was a different one. This is the next one. Yeah.
Oh, you're like, that's a different project. Yeah. You're behind. Okay.
So I filmed this one before Queen's Gambit came out, and I just didn't have. I don't want to say I didn't have time. I did have time, but I just didn't prioritize it. And then on the last film I was working on, I was talking with the director, and then we were talking about like the up and coming and how he had to go through all this, like the struggles of literally sleeping in the editing room because you're just doing it for so long and stuff like that. I was like, oh yeah, no, I also filmed this thing. And then like he just looked at me and was like, oh, so when does it come out? It's like, oh, I haven't put it together yet. And he's like, why not? And then I was just dumbfounded in that situation. I was like, yeah, that's surprisingly a really good question, because I didn't have an So then, yeah, on this trip, there was a moment where we were stuck waiting for the truck to get repaired. And I just sat down and put it all together I think I just need to fix a few other tweaks in it, but then, yeah, got that done. And it's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, editing for me is, I just need to be into it. I just need to sit down, have some allotted time and get it done. But then it's like, when I'm in that work mode, the editing work mode, I can get it done pretty fast. So I know we'll talk. But it's not about what I'm capable of. It's all about what you're capable of.
Conversation.
So with that film then, now you're leading into getting a second film completed, working on that. What's the time frame with that? So you've already written the 10 pages? And then when do you take it to camera?
That's a really good question. So I want to say at least mid next year, only because Celia has got into the Stratford theater program. So she's going to be off in Toronto for 2 years. So I do want to like see if there's any legal way to like partially buy the script from her, because we worked on it together. And then from there, apply for funding and have her still be a part of it, but she'll be in Stratford, and then go from there. So once I kind of legally find out what I had to do to find out how we can both split the script while she's gone, apply for funding and then start filming, I want to say it's going to take maybe 4 or 5 months. Because what we want to do is going to need funding. Like, we're going to need to apply for a grant. Like, the things that we want to do, we're going to have blood. We're going to have like, we want it to be epic. We want it to be like a really cinematic short film and not just something we shot on our iPhone or something, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But we really, we believe in the script. I believe in the script. We really want to do it justice.
And then the goal from that is to make it into a feature?
Yes, but the first goal would be to send it to film festivals and like hopefully get hype around it. Because I think our idea is so wicked. We touch on I'm not trying to boost myself, but we touch on so many social, political things in this short film. And then on top of that, it's funny. So, and I think it's relatable. Like, yeah, I think it's good. And it's based in Vancouver. So I think it's good.
So was Celia supposed to be the other actor in it with you?
She was, but gotcha. I highly doubt it's gonna happen because I think when you're in, I might be wrong if she's watching this. I think when you're in Stratford, you have to sign a contract and you can't appear in anything for 2 years. So yeah, so we just have to sit down and both of us sign a contract. Because that's what I learned from my mistake with the other project. I met this guy and we had become close. We had become friends. So we both didn't sign any contracts. We're both like, yeah, we're just doing this together. And in the end, I had nothing. I had no legal claim to anything. He had all the footage. Everything was in his name because he rented the camera. Even though we paid for things separately, I sent him money. He paid for the camera equipment. Everything was in his name. So I learned the hard way that even if you're working with friends, you have to have a business mindset. Like that's something that I'll tell to everyone. You got to sign, even if it's your best friend. Even if it's your partner, I'm sorry, sign a contract, honestly.
Damn, sorry you went through that. But like
you learn.
That's all that this industry is. You gotta just it sucks where it's like, you kind of have to experience the hardship of it before you learn.
Honestly. And I'd rather it happen now. I was how old was I? Like 26, 27 when that happened. Now I'm 29. I'd rather that happen then than at 29 turning 30. Like I learned so much from that business wise. I'll never get fucked over again. It'll never happen again. I learned a lot. So,
well, we're learning bad, moving forward. Say again.
Pardon? Oh, I said it was bad, but it was good.
It's just one of those things where it's just like it shouldn't have to happen. I get it in terms of having the contract and stuff like that, but it's like with this industry, why? Like it's spiteful to just not give the footage. So it's like, I don't know. I think there's like ulterior motives behind it in a sense where it's like, okay, and you had to pay to get the footage back from him?
No, he sent it to so I had to sign a contract. That was that's why we went back and forth for a year. So he's like, I'll give it to you for free. He wanted me to sign a contract that if I couldn't make a feature length or a TV series off of it. And I was like, but this is my life story. Then he wanted me to sign a contract that said, if I ever entered into any film festivals, he has to have the final say. It was like all this stuff. And I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. So let's say this like entered into a film festival and CBC sees it and like, oh, we love this idea. We want to make it into a film. He has the right to block it. And I was like, but this is literally my life. Like this white man took my life story and then wanted me to sign a contract that said, I can't do anything else with this story. I was like, hell, are you crazy? So that's why we were going back and forth for so long.
So he was white.
Yes.
God damn
I think that adds the juice to the story. Yeah, and that's what made it a bit more hurtful. Because I'm like, you literally came on because his I'm spilling some tea. His partner is Black. He's dating a Black woman. So he came on with this kind of like guise of like, my girlfriend's Black. She's in Vancouver. It's tough for her. I get your story.
That's what happened is he got dumped.
No, he's still with her actually.
Oh, because I would have been like, he got dumped. And then it's like, I don't want anything to do with this.
I mean, honestly, to this day, I don't really know what happened. Especially because he's a grown-up, like as in like he's like 35, 36. So when he ghosted me for all those months, I was like, can't you just, I was so confused. I'm like, can't you just tell me like, hey man, I don't want to be part of this project. Here's the footage. Go on your way. But he just held on to it for months. It was weird. Yeah.
Damn. Oh, well, so what was it about him then that was like, okay, because why, let's say, for example, why wouldn't you go to like Frank at the time,
Mm.
because especially with his affiliations with BDB, where it's like, why couldn't you get them to be a part of it instead of going to this white guy?
Mm. No, that's
Oh,
I 100%. I agree. My idea was to keep the film kind of like all Black and people of color. But when I'd met him, he had come on and said, like, I can direct it. I went to school for directing. He was going to edit it. So like all these boxes were being checked off. And it felt like if I went to Frank or Ryan or anyone, they'd have to outsource an editor, outsource a music person. When this guy was like, I can do all of that. And he was going to be partly DOP. We still hired a DOP, but he was going to help out. So I was like, oh, all these areas are checked off. And it was a non-union film. So I know if I went with them, it'd have to be union. But all
no,
these
not
boxes.
necessarily.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
If
Because even
they're
Frank had that. And I was like, oh, you're all unionized.
Well, that's union for on camera.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hamza asked the same thing. He's like, why didn't you come to us? I'm like, you guys are all unionized. So I just figured like
it's a
completely
different union for on camera and off camera.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm unionized, so hey. But yeah, I just felt like this one guy is gonna check off 5 boxes. Fuck yeah. And he's a writer as well. Because I can write, but I'm not confident. So he took my ideas and then made it into a scene. And I was like, this is amazing. Like I just felt like I hit the jackpot. But kind of I was gonna make a bad joke, never mind. But honestly, looking back on it, I learned a lot. And I was mad at that guy for so long. And now we're going back and forth through email, trying to get footage and stuff. And now I feel nothing. I'm just like, wow, like I've grown so much. Wow.
Yeah. Fair. Awesome. Well, considering that, like, what's the journey been for you in regards to being confident with your writing abilities from you first moving to Vancouver? Like, how did you feel that you've grown? How do you feel that you've grown into this voice?
Such a good question. I don't think I've grown. I didn't think. Wow. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. I didn't start growing until 2020. I had like everyone else, I'm sure. I had the whole year off. I was on EI and CERT because the restaurant I worked at closed down. And I just did a lot of self-reflection. And I read a lot of self-help books, and I just started becoming more confident in myself. And it just took me really sitting down for 1 year, figuring out what I can change about myself, because I'm not perfect. Obviously, there's so many things I can change. I can be a better friend, a better daughter, a better, auntie. And I was just trying to figure out what I need to do to get to where I want to go. And I just started working on it that whole year. And the main thing was my confidence. I don't know if you know this. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe not. I just had super low self-esteem in every single aspect of my life. When it came to relationships, if a guy liked me, I'm like, oh, he only likes me because I have a big butt, and he doesn't really like it. That was my mentality. I just being honest. Or if I got an audition and it was like a lead role, or if it was like serious.
Hold on, wait. I just want to point out where it's like that's very ironic to have low self-esteem, but at the same time say that you got a big butt.
but it's true.
But it's like, oh, my self-esteem is so low, but my ass is popping.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt for so long. I'm like, he probably just wants to sleep with me because I have a big, like, that was just my go-to. He doesn't really like me. And then when it came to acting, if I got a big audition, I'm like, they're not going to cast me. They're going to cast like some American girl, bring her in. Just every area of my life, I was just not confident. And I just started working on it bit by bit by bit. I actually, let go of a lot of friendships. And I encourage everyone to let go of toxic friendships. Not everyone deserves access to your...
with respect to that, like, define toxic. How can you identify if you're in this friendship, and let's say, because it's unfortunate where people find themselves in toxic friendships, but they don't know it. So what are some of the signs to help see who is toxic?
For a big one for me was jealousy. So I had a few actor friends that were like, we were very close, and the energy they gave me whenever I booked something was like so dark. Like, oh, is it principal? Is it actor? How long are you on set for? Who's the director? Oh, it's Hallmark. Oh, okay. Oh, it's not Netflix. And then if my friends book something, I'm like, oh my God, turn up. You're going to be on set. Like, I just started realizing that like the energy was so different. Even asking for help, the energy for self-tapes, everything, the energy was very different. And I started noticing like little things. And I was like, you're still my friend, but you're now an acquaintance. Like, you're not going to be my go-to girlfriend to run to. And also like another toxic trait. I don't know, how do I say this? I just feel like sometimes with girls, if you don't talk to them every day, they're like, oh, she's mad at me. And I'm like, I'm just trying to pay my rent. So I did have a friendship where I kind of like stopped talking to her every day. And she'd be like, oh, you're mad at me? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to pay rent. I work in a warehouse. I'm working from 10 to 4. I'm lifting boxes. Like, I'm tired. And that's the thing I didn't like, where like, if I didn't talk to her every day, or if I talked to her once a week, she was like, you're mad at me. And I was like, I don't like that. Not that it was toxic. It was just annoying. It's like little things like that. I'm just like, yeah, we could cool off. And then, there's a few other things, but yeah, letting go of toxic friendship boosted my self-confidence a lot, because whoever you have in your ear, they kind of like influence your mentality. They influence your confidence. Even like if people around you aren't cheering for you and they're like in your ear, you're not going to cheer for yourself. That's what I believe. I didn't have anyone.
Say that one more time.
If you're not having anyone in your ear cheering for you, I feel like you won't be as confident for yourself either. Not that you need outside of praise, I'm not saying that, but you need one or two people to be like, yeah, man, you got it. Good job. Like, keep going. You need that. And I felt like there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of jealousy. And to me, Vancouver is a city that's filled with opportunities. So if I book something, you're going to book something. We're in like a winning circle. And some people didn't have that mentality. It was like, oh, you booked it? It was like, it doesn't matter. You're next, you know?
Yeah. So that, and then 2020 comes along, and how did the voice grow? How did it?
It sounds kind of like, you know, spiritual and, you know, but I just started listening to my gut more. I always had these feelings in your, what do you call it? Not intentions, your inner voice. I never listened to it. I never listened to it. Like, my inner voice would be like, oh, like, don't, like, even with the short film, I had a thought from the very beginning, like, not to move forward with it. And my main thought was like, just buy the script from this guy, because he wrote it, buy the script from him, and then do your own thing. And I talked to other people like, no, just stick with him, da-da-da. So because I listened to other people, I didn't listen to myself. All this other shit happened. I had to hire a lawyer, all that stuff. So I was like, let me just start listening to myself, because I know what's up. I know how I feel. I know like my gut feelings and stuff. So I just started listening to my voice, to my gut, listening to my inner voice. Like, that's the big thing. You know what's right. Your gut tells you if something's off. You know, when you're in a dark room, your gut will tell you, no, turn around, you know? Always listen to that. You're always like, your gut is always, or your inner voice is always talking to you. And I always ignored it. I'd always go to other people for advice. I'd be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And in 2020, I was like, no, what do I think about this? And I think that's what helped me grow my voice, because I became more confident in myself. And then I think that in turn led to like boost my confidence in other areas.
Okay.
If I explain that.
Yeah. So now you have this voice. Now, do you see yourself then branching off into becoming a writer or a director, or is your main focus still acting?
Another great question. I think for right now, my main focus is going to be acting, because I believe that once I, you know, book these roles and I'm able to get more money, I can then put funds into getting my ideas made. So in the future, I would love to be a director, like really like a director. And I would love to be on a writing team, like kind of like Issa Rae. I don't want to copy her, but like Issa Rae. But I do know I need money for that. So right now, acting is still a big is my main passion. My goal is to keep booking, growing in that area, and learning. Because when you're on set, I'm always watching the director. I'm always watching the DOP. Like, so I'm learning. I feel like I'm in school. So I'm always learning. And then I want to say in the future, like let's say 4 or 5 years, I want to be like fully in the entertainment industry, like fully writing, fully directing, fully acting. But for right now, my main focus is acting, and then taking that money and using it for my little short films and whatnot. Because everyone's like, just take out your camera and film stuff. It's like, yeah, but you can also do a really dope production if you save your money. That's what I want to do.
Sweet. Fun. Now, in the meantime, because as all up-and-coming actors have to do who are in less fortunate positions where we don't have mommy and daddy's money in our pocket, you have probably one of my favorite part-time jobs because I get free stuff from it.
My boss is watching this like, what? Free?
I mean, I get stuff from it, of course, by they're just samples. Fairly large samples. So it's like sea moss. And what's the tea? What was that one you gave me? The gully root?
Oh yeah, gully root. Yeah, it's a really good one. That's my favorite.
Talk to me about sea moss and gully root. What is, like, how did you get into it? What do you use it for? How do you use it? And how can people get into that?
Oh, wow, nice. So I work at a company called Rich Soul Foods, and they get sea moss and all their herbal products from St. Lucia. And a friend had recommended I get it because I was having, like, migraines and little back pains. And they're like, oh, just get sea moss and you put it in your smoothies, or you can actually use it as a facial mask. So many things you can do. So I actually bought sea moss, and then I met the owner, Akeem, and a couple months later I was working there. But basically sea moss is, I think your body needs 102 minerals to survive, minerals and vitamins, and sea moss has something like 99. So I might be wrong, please Google it. But it's very nutritious for you. You can add it to your stews, your smoothies. It boosts your energy. If you are low in iron, it boosts your iron. It's really great for a woman. If it's your time of the month, you start taking it a week before, and it boosts your iron levels and your magnesium levels, and it just makes your monthly flow less painful. Also, he has a bunch of teas. So back in the days, like in the Caribbean, all our grandparents and even probably the Philippines even as well, our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they didn't really take Tylenol, they just took teas. So he's going back to that. So when you have gully root is mainly for inflammation, so sinusitis, allergies, or if you're getting a cold, you just take a gully root and you boil it and you drink the water. And I actually feel a difference. I know some people are like, oh, it's a herb. No, I actually really feel a difference. So each plant is for different parts of your body. Gully root would be for your chest and your sinuses. St. John's bush is a womb cleanser. Again, another great thing for women. Blue vervain helps you sleep. He has a bunch of teas, and it's all good for different things. Sweet bay leaf actually is great, and it's also good for men erection. I didn't know that, so I'm getting some sweet bay leaf for some friends this year for Christmas. I'm kidding. But yeah, each tea has a different...
Are you though? Are you kidding?
It tastes great.
What tastes great?
Sorry?
What tastes great?
The tea.
Got
Sweet
you.
bay leaf.
Oh, not what it does. Got you.
Both are great. So each tea is good for a different part of your body. And I got really lucky with that job because every job I had as an actor, you tell them, hopefully in the interview, I'm an actor. And they tell you, oh, you can go for whatever audition you want. And I've got a lot of job interviews. So I'm like, I'm an actor. And like, oh, amazing. Our bartender's an actor. Yeah, we'd love to hire you. And when I get an audition, they're like, oh, no, you can't leave. So like every job I've had, I'm like, I told you I was an actor. Even one time I booked the Bubbly commercial with Michael Bublé, which was amazing. And the day that it was filming, I found out, let's say 3 days earlier, and the schedule was made. And they're like, oh, you're scheduled, so you have to come in on Wednesday. And I was like, I don't think you guys get it. I booked a commercial. And they're like, you got to cover your shift. So I was like trying to cover my shift. No one wanted to take it. It was like a Wednesday night shift. And I just had to like be a no-show. You got to do what you got to do because I booked a commercial. And with this job, Akeem, he's quite young. He's 32, I believe. And he runs the company. And whenever I have an audition, whenever I have anything, he's like, you go. It's never been a problem. And this is the only job. I'm 29. This is the only, I started working at 14. Well, let's say 18. I didn't start auditioning until 18. This is the only job I've ever had where he's like, or the boss, like, yeah, go. You're going to be Victoria for a week? Oh, yeah, go. Like, I'm so blessed. So really thankful. Really, really thankful. I work in a warehouse, so it's not glamorous. I have to lift boxes and ship stuff, but the flexibility, and it lets me still chase my dreams. I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Man, that's what it's all about, though, where it's just like finding a job that allows you that flexibility.
Like, it's rare.
Yeah. I found a job one time where it was the graveyard shift. It was at a grocery store. And I thought it was the perfect job because it's midnight and I don't have to do auditions and stuff there. And then I got fired because they thought that I wasn't working hard enough. I got fired on my birthday. Screw Loblaws. Loblaws can bite it. And I say that
overpriced anyways. What?
Like, what even is a Loblaw? More like blah 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 blah.
A dad joke, a classic dad joke. That's funny. Boom.
That's what I got to start mixing in here. Our dad jokes, just to
you should start up at the top.
A dad joke a day. Yeah, that'll be fun. I think that'll be the new calling to set.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Sweet. Awesome, fun though. Oh my god, like I'm excited for this new project, this new horror comedy. That's also another thing I wanted to. So you say it's a horror, but at the same time, it's a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a fan of horror?
I am, yeah.
So
sorry, let me reframe that. I'm more of a fan of suspense than horror. Like, I'd rather see a psychological thriller where someone is like trying to get then blood and gore. But I am a fan of that genre. So then
what's your favorite horror movie?
It's an old movie, like from the early 2000s. It's called Motel 8.
Okay.
I have a story about that. I don't know. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. That movie fucking scarred me. So my dad, he's awesome, but he has no like concept of what kids should and shouldn't watch. So when I was 10, he let us watch Motel 8 and it truly scarred. It's a great movie, but it trually scarred me as a kid.
I think there's rumors where there was a ghost on set.
I believe that movie was terrifying. But I would say that's my favorite movie because to this day, like, it's a twist ending too. Yeah. I'll say it. At the end of the movie, the kid is the killer. The kid is the one that's killing everyone. It was very horrifying. But yeah, that's my favorite movie because of how scared I was. And to this day, like, I watch it kind of like, ooh, even though I know it's gonna happen. But yeah, it would be Motel 8.
So then that was a horror. Now with your movie, because like the reason why I'm asking is because I'm particular with the term horror. I don't really do horror, but there's a lot of horror movies nowadays that come out where I'll gladly watch it because it's not really horror. So I'm just being what's the word, critical here, where it's like, is it a horror where I'm gonna have to cower my eyes, or is it like it's a thriller then? A thriller comedy.
I guess we labeled it horror because there's blood in it, so automatically we're like horror. But now that I do talk it out with you and I'm fleshing it out, I would say it's a thriller actually, because I won't. Never mind, but it was more of a thriller. Gotcha. But I assume because there's blood and like know stabbing, I'm like horror. But now that we talk about it, I'm like thriller actually. Fair. So yeah, you're right.
Because like I think that discussion started coming out when Saw first came out, where it first came out as a horror, and then people were talking about it, and it's like it's not really a horror because there's no scare factor to it. It's all just gross. It's very grotesque, and there's just like that talk. And then now you have Jordan Peele coming out with all his great work, and it's like he's trying to classify it as horror, but then in reality they're just psychological thrillers and with a lot of social commentary involved. And then there was that big I think it was for, I can't remember what award it was going for, but then there was a lot of upset that it was classified as a comedy and not a horror. And
Get
it's like,
Out?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And
That
then,
was for the Oscars, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, where it was like in a category that nobody expected it to be in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the Oscars.
And then it's just like it's just interesting how they classify these things. And then after that, and then I saw Us, and then I saw what was the last one? Candyman.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, have you seen that one?
I did. I was mediocre. I thought it was mediocre. I thought it was good, but had the potential to be great.
What perspective did you watch it in? Like, were you expecting a horror?
I was expecting a horror and I was
Mm.
expecting a more fleshed out story. I found that the story wasn't fleshed out. I found that the main part of the story was that like he's black and the cops are racist. And I was like, okay, like sure. I just felt like everything was, and obviously I'm black, but I just felt like the movie was trying to, it was kind of like a white guilt movie, if that makes
White
sense.
guilt movie.
As in like, I feel like the movie was for white people in the sense of like they're showing what it's like to be a black man and you're in
No,
this,
that's
you're
the thing,
artist.
is like it was a horror for the white people, but then like from the perspective I was watching it, I was like, okay, cool. It's the white people that are getting killed, and then the social commentary behind the fact that like the whole chanting of "Say my name," and then when Trayvon Martin, everybody's like getting like just the recognition of just say Trayvon's name and respect his name, and then
Yeah.
white people didn't want to say his name. So then it's like it comes full circle where it's like white people don't want to say Candyman because they think that if they do, they're gonna get killed. You know what I mean? So it's like I was able to watch that with full attention because I'm watching from a perspective of, it's like white people just don't want to acknowledge the name. White people just see, color people chanting and they're not understanding it, and they mock it and make fun of it when they want to try it. And it's like, so even with that, where it's like it's no longer a horror so much as it is social commentary for
100.
understand. And it's just like, so then for me, I'm watching it, it's like, because with the purpose of you making your movie where it's like tired of black people dying first, well, it's like, yeah, white people are dying in this, that's great, I'm enjoying this.
Sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, that was
I'm not. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, I thought it was a great movie. I did think it could be better. I thought it could be more fleshed out. I didn't love the ending. And I just felt like I think the movie ran for.
Oh, I love the ending.
I didn't love it. I just felt like, spoiler alert, the main guy, Yaya, he dies. And I just felt like they didn't flesh out his character enough for me to care. I did care, obviously, but I was like, I didn't like, I don't know. And then the twist with the laundry guy.
It's because he didn't have his shirt off.
Who do you think I am? I watch it for the art. For the art.
Just like you promote sweet bay leaf for the flavor.
Yeah, it's great for men and women, mainly men.
Gotcha. yeah, good to know.
Yeah, I thought it was good. But I just felt like it leaned more on what you said, social commentary. And I was like, I was expecting something different.
That's where it's like it's pulling away from the genre of horror and moving into the psychological thrillers.
100%. 100%. Still a good movie. Give it about an 8 out of 10.
That's still a good score.
Yeah.
Fun. So anything else you up to? What's new in the world of Kerën?
I would say wrapping up this year on a high note. Auditioning. I have lots of, as you know, very, very busy. Have lots of auditionings going out before the new year ends. My goal is to start being seen regularly or start being submitted regularly as a series regular, series whatever, and above. Because for a long time, my agent was just submitting me for principal and actor. And it definitely hurt my ego a bit. Because I'm like, I could do the lead. I could do a series, you know, principal or whatever. And her goal was to grow me and to make the casting directors trust me. So she had a goal. She had, you know, an intention. And we're finally at the place in our relationship where she believes the casting directors trust me now to go out for bigger roles. And those roles are coming in. Nice. And it's a blessing. So now my eyes are set on, because I feel like I want him to be like, you know, cocky, but I can book an actor role in my sleep. Like, I know how to break it down. I know how to have a beginning beat, ending beat. I know how to have maybe a button at the end. Like, I just, you get into the groove. So now I'm ready for this new challenge. So my eyes are set on being seen as like, kind of like you in a way, like you only go out for series regular, you know, all that jazz. I want to have the casting directors trust, because they have to trust you in order to put your tape past, you know, the director, the producer. And I want to grow their trust. I came to Vancouver very green. If God, I hope they burn it. But if you watch my first year of auditioning, horrible. Horrible.
Do you still have them?
No, because at that time we were going in the room.
Oh, but
like,
there were still self-tapes and stuff back in the day.
I have a few that Hamza has a few from like 2018, where like I was filming something that was filming in Calgary. I was taping something that was filming in Calgary. I have those. Yeah. Horrible.
It's
and
like,
the thing was, I'm a good actor.
Yeah.
Horrible auditioner. Now I'm good. Now I'm good at it. But acting and auditioning, completely different skill set. And I had to learn that here.
So with your trajectory in regards to you starting and you being a horrible auditioner, and now you're confident with your auditioning, did you fall in love with going in the room? Do you miss the room? Are you happy it's no longer in the room? What's your position?
That's such a good question. I think I'm 50-50, because when you're in the room, you get let's say you see the scene one way and the casting director's like, that's great, but I know the director's really looking for this. So you can get that feedback and you can actually flip your audition. That's happened to me where I went into the room with Tiffany Mack, who I fucking love. And I did an audition one way and she was like, that was great, but I know the director's really looking for like this type of person. And she coached me. She gave me 3 takes in total. And I ended up booking that role because I got her in-room feedback. There's a name for it. I can't remember right now.
Direction. Redirect.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Got the redirect. I got the in-room redirect. Auditions can be scary. I've gone into, you know, director sessions and whatnot, freaking nervous. And they want you to be great, but your nerves are still, you know, they want you to be the one. But in my mind, I'm like, there's 10 people in the room. Oh my God. At least with self-tapes, you can do 5-6 takes, watch the best one, submit it. I try not to do more than 5 because I think that's not setting myself up for success. But I do think it's a level of ease with self-taping. So that's why I say I'm 50-50. My nerves are gone. I'm not nervous at all self-taping. But then I don't get that redirect. And I wonder, with all the auditions I submit, I'm like, what if I had that one redirect? Would that have changed my audition? Because they can't email 10 people and be like, hey, that was great. Can you try it again now with this? They just have to go with what's the best, I feel like. So yeah, that's why I'm 50-50.
Fair. So then, when was the last time that you said, I wish I was in the room? Hasn't happened, has it?
No, it has.
Book the room. No, I'm joking. I love the room. I miss the room. I genuinely miss the room.
I do miss the room. I would say there's this role that came out for this new comedy that's filming in Vancouver next year. And I think it's gonna be, I read the script, I think it's gonna be a really great comedy. And Tiffany Mack is actually casting it. And I feel like I did a good audition, but maybe, because comedy's hard, in my opinion. Comedy, you really have to hit those beats. You really have to get the tone. Yeah. And because it's a pilot, I don't know the tone. I just see what's on the script. So I submitted the audition. I do think it was strong, but I feel like if I was in the room and I can talk to her maybe a little bit, maybe for 30 seconds, maybe that would have been great for me, but I just have to leave it at that. I think that audition, because I really want that role. It would be a series reoccurring. I'd be playing the role is so cool. This really cool teacher. Yeah, I'm at that age where I'm playing a teacher now. But yeah, a role like that, I would have loved redirect. I would have loved to be in the room for that.
Fair. Well, time's changing.
Yeah, gotta get used to it. What about you? Are you still auditioning while you're on the road?
Yeah.
Can you? Oh, dope.
Yep. Monique helps me out with she's my reader
Go,
for
Monique.
all my things. And
Monique, you better get your 15%.
she's getting more than 15%.
Okay, you go, girl. You get your hustle on. Yeah, if he books, you get that 15% too, girl.
Why you gotta say that? Why she can hear you?
I'm just trying to help a sister out. Trying to help her.
Awesome. But no, yeah, it's this has been it's been fun because like I don't have to I'm not too stressed when it comes to the tapes in regards to this truck is giving me so much more to focus on. So it really helps me let go of those auditions as soon as I'm done them. So that's its own little blessing as
So
well.
hard
Like,
to do.
yeah, you don't really want to dwell on those auditions just because it's just gonna give you a headache. But then knowing that I have to find water and fill up my water tank and do all that stuff and make sure the truck is working properly, and it's gonna rain today, so I have to make sure that like I cover up the generator as soon as I'm done with it, stuff like that. So doing that, and then but yeah, no, it's really fun. And then she helps me run lines while we're driving as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
you're like multitasking.
Got a system here, and hopefully one of these auditions will stick. And
Amen.
yeah, like the goal is